Shut up and sit down.
Right, I've got a lot of the bike in priming stage, or the bulk of it. Some of it I've actually painted the wheels. This started with a bit of alcalad aluminium. Let's have a look, see if I can find it. That's chrome. So run some of that through the airbrush. Everything had a quick coat of MIG one-shot primer, same as the Steiner Res and UMP. So had a coat of that, then a coat of alclad aluminium, and then I shot over it with a bit of Tamiya X12 gold leaf just to get the gold out on the wheels. So they've been done. The exhausts as well have been coated. They had a coat of MIG one-shot primer, then a coat of alclad aluminium. Okay, now some of the black is just beginning to show through, but I want that because a question I get asked lots is how I get my motorcycle exhausts to look like that. As you can see, there's a bit of bluing in all the right places, as well as the welds, etc. So what I'm going to show you is how to go from that to that. Okay, so I've done a few of them. See, so there's the upper opposite side, and as you can see, it's just a subtle hue of blues, etc. So let's just try and get a bit of light on them. You might then be able to pick it up. See? Just subtle. All you want. Okay. Same with that one. Subtly done. Okay. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So I start off with said exhaust. I use a lot of reference pics off of Google, but we basically have Tamiya Weathering Master Set D. Okay, and I tend to do my bluing first. Cheap makeup applicators, buy a bag of a couple of hundred on eBay, and you just start dusting the bends. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm just rubbing this powder onto the aluminium alclad. Now it's had a gloss coat on top of the alclad, just so that this stuff sticks to it. Let's just drop that clip off of there, hold that a bit steadier, and then I rub in a little circular motion along the weld line with the blue. Okay. Just to start getting it to adhere. And it's like anything, less is more. If you find it's not blue enough for your particular taste, then go back over it. I just do a little subtle hint of it. It's just my personal taste. And we've got a load of welds there, so this whole section is going to be blued up quite nicely because there's a kink in the exhaust and the gases are going to collect and heat that section up quite nicely, and the circular motion takes away the risk of striping. You're not after thick bands of blue because I'm going to be putting on another coat in a minute of a different colour. That's why I do the circular motions. And as you can see, that's beginning to blue up quite nicely. Now the temptation is to go all out and yeah, there's not enough on there. There's enough on there. Because don't forget, a lot of these bikes, they do a couple of races and they put new set pipes on. So, and it's forever changing the design of them as well. Right. So that's the bluing done. See? So, just enough. And then go over. So, have a look at the colours there. You've got burnt blue, burnt red, and oil stain. Just get a bit of the burnt red. Doesn't matter whether there's any blue mixed in with it, because it's going to end up with a mixing anyways. And that's all you're doing, and little circular motions again. Just to try to get some of it to blend together. But it's a very quick and easy way to do an exhaust pipe. I think anyway. There are other ways of doing it. You can do it with an airbrush. But I've tried that before and it ended up looking just like stripes all the way around the exhaust, and it wasn't the effect I was after. A bit more blue. Now I'll put some of the burnt red on just to bring that back. And that is pretty much an exhaust pipe done. I've just got to put the weld lines in. What I tend to do for that is I have Alclad, Molotov, liquid chrome pens. I'll give it a pump so that the nib gets nice and wet, and then I get a really fine brush, like so. Give it a little twist, and I'll grab my exhaust, and I'll drop the weld line in. Just dab at it. Because once the weld lines are dry, I'll then put a tiny little bit of blue back on. Just the blue over the weld line. But it will give you a simple yet effective exhaust. I just want a hint of the weld line in places. Doesn't have to be a thick plumb weld line. Some bits will be more visible than others. Worry if you go over it, because you just wipe it straight off, see? So even if you do go over the line, where you've got the powder on, you can use that to rub the weld line back out, and it will stay in the recess. Just like that. Once this is all dry, I'll give it a coat of gloss, 24 hours, and then I'll give it a matte coat. Bring the exhausts back down to matte. Okay, and give that a turn. Big fat weld in there. Use your thumb just to smooth it down a tad, because you still want the effect of the weld, but you want the bluing to go over the top of the weld. A big fat old weld in there, and then thumb it off just so that it's a bit recessed. And then when you glue over that, it will just pop that weld quite nicely. Like so. Subtly done. That is an exhaust pipe sorted. Let that all dry, and dust over it with a brush, an old makeup brush or anything, and it'll blend everything together. And then you end up with a nice stained exhaust. Bob is one's uncle. So that's that. So let's clean my brush. See what else we've been doing on the bike. For you, so we can park the exhaust pipe out of the way for a minute. So the bike, we've done the engine. Again, coated with one-shot primer. Let's grab the pointy stick. So a coat of one-shot primer. Then let's add some gunmetal, flat aluminium, some chrome, bit of gold leaf, white for the spark plugs. Let it all dry. Then I've gone over it with a wash, bit of Starship filth. Let that dry, gloss coated it, and then gone back over with my Molotov chrome pen and dropped in the bolt head, chrome, etc. on the engine. Frame was just ordinary black. Front forks. Again, out with a chrome pen to chrome these sections. This is flat aluminium, gloss black, and they're all clear coated. The discs in the centre, gunmetal, gold bolts, flat aluminium for the discs. Because don't forget, in 1979 they didn't have carbon fibre disc brakes. A lot of people forget that. And they'll paint carbon discs on a bike that is too old to have had carbon discs. So that's where we're at. So I can do a bit of assembly next, I think. So we can look at that and start getting this bike put together. I think that's what we're looking at doing. So I've got my instructions just here. I've built the engine up. So I'm going to put the engine in the frame, and then I'm going to build the frame around the engine. So we can have that piece. that piece. Now, from what I remember, this was a bit of a tight fit, but it does go. So it's around and in, like so, and then it hooks over these 4 lugs. So we want to put one side in first before the other. Otherwise you won't get it in there. It is literally just squeeze the frame together so that the lugs of the engine just pop in place, and then I'll go and glue it in a bit. There you go. That is the engine pretty much set to where it needs, or roughly needs to be. So need to find the odd bits and pieces to attach said engine to the frame. It needs to come out such as that. And then we've got some bits over here to go in. Yep. Don't need that anymore, so that can sit there out of the way. It is literally putting the frame together at this stage of the build. Is all the little fiddly gnarly stuff I can get out of the way sooner rather than later, so that we can get onto the decals and all of that. So first things first is make sure I'm actually putting that on the right way round, thusly. Just like that. Let's drop a bit of extra thin on there. And a bit on them lugs now that I know that they're in the right place. So to do, engine in. Let's get the other frame spars in, which is 47 and 48. So let's put number 47 in first. 'Don't need that hook on there anymore. .47 goes in the central spar across the top. Like so. that. And number 48. 47 even. No, 48. I was right. Goes further down. Round about there. Well, I was on shot, wouldn't it, Pete? I do apologise. Like so. It's coming together nicely. I've got the other shock absorber there that's still attached. Slight accident on my part there. So we live and learn. So we've got that. We've got the engine in. Got some of these little greeblies to go on the frame as well, which will be painted up afterwards. I tend to go round with a detail brush and put in these sort of details last minute, just so that I can get on with other stuff basically. So that goes in like so. Around about there. Cool. A little bit of a troublesome frame there, don't want to stay in place. Clumsy fingers there. Come off shot just for a second whilst I put that piece of frame back in place. There you go. Slightly more glue on there than I'd like, but it's come off once, so it's bound to come off again. Make sure that that's looking how we want it. Yeah. Pull that in place. Another one of those that goes there at the front of the casing. Okay, let's have a look. Loop. I reckon it goes there, do they? Seems a strange case to put one of those, but that's where it says it is. Right, so now drop the front forks up and in. Like so. Put the frame in place. Still want the forks to turn. Cool. So that's the front forks sorted. Go. The attachment for the front wheel. The bike itself is really quite a nice little kit. It's needed a lot of work. You know, I didn't expect it not to be quite honest. I can live with that. A little bit more than I thought, to be quite honest with you, would be needed. But we live and learn. That's the rear brake. Right there. But we're at that greebly stage on the build, so we can get on and do some of the attaching of stuff, like the discs. Take the paint off of that. Just to get a bit of a better chance of sticking. Like so. That, because that piece goes in next between both discs. Otherwise you won't get them on. That's what you want. It will stick. Like that. Cool. Now it's one of those decisions to make at this stage, is do you want the wheels to turn or not? Me personally, nah, I don't want them to turn. So I will, once their tyres are on, fix the wheels permanently because it's going on a diorama. So front forks still turn. That's one of the things I'm interested in keeping with it. Look, we've got a steering damper to go on as well. Which lives there. Looking like a bike. I'm not going to put the handlebars on just yet. I want to see how they look before we mount them. There's a handlebar. There's another handlebar. These are square pegs on these, so you can only fit them a certain position. So it's worth remembering that. Happy days. And then you've got the top yoke to go on. Just like that. Okay. And you have a full set of handlebars. So it's going together quite nicely now. Nothing's popped out that shouldn't have. Not great for the shock absorbers, I know. And then I can fix now the steering damper to the side of the frame. More or less where I want to be in position. And I'm leaving it there. I've got a small frame section that I could probably put in just so that settles overnight, which is that piece over there. Because I haven't painted the bodywork yet, and it's calling out for the mud guards, etc., to go in, so I'm not quite ready for that to go in place yet. a stubborn piece that I'm doing just off shot, but I'd say once one side's stuck, the other side will go together quite easily. Actually looks like that piece is twisted. little stubborn. It's a very bad fit, this piece, but it will go. Oh, it's going to need a little bit of help, I think, to hold everything in place. It's just pinging off all the time. It just needs enough glue to get in there to weld the plastic. And once it takes, it'll be all right. I think there's a little bit of play in the frame still where it needs to dry, so I'm gonna take it as far as I can go to there. Let some of this set, and then come back and do that rear piece. That's where we're at the moment. It's twisted here, so I want that main section to set. All in all, job well done. Let these pieces set now, I think. I think that's a good place to stop. Personally. So I'm going to pause, let that dry, and then we'll come back and attach the rear wheels and other bits of gubbins. I want that to dry in situ tonight. I want to get ahead of the game, but also just want to let you guys see a couple of bits on how it's done. It's a day of dropping everything today. So yeah, we'll come back and we'll start building up the rear section of the bike. Getting these rather sexy exhaust pipes done and in place, and then we can go and get on. So I'll see you in a little while for building the rear section. See you in a bit.